Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hot Topic Tuesday, League of Leaders. I'm Zach Sooty, joined by Al Fragnoli. Al, got some hot topics to discuss tonight, and I know the first one, you're a passionate Detroit Lions fan, so I'm interested to hear your take. The Detroit Lions hired Dan Campbell as their head coach. Thoughts on the hire and his press conference um, garnered a lot of media. Do you think it was out of line, or do you think he's going to have a team that's ready to run through a brick wall for him?
So that's an interesting question, Zach. So, yes, we talk about the Lions a lot, and we're going to continue on with this topic. The hire, is it the right hire? The first part of that question, I don't know. I mean, you go from a tight end coach straight to head coach. I'm not sure. I haven't done a lot of research on his background. I know he's a young guy still. I think he's in his early to mid 40s, and he's been in the league for a little while. But to my knowledge, he hasn't had a coordinator position yet, and he jumps from position coach to head coach. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm going to hold true to. I really wish they would have went with Bieniemy from the offensive coordinator from the Kansas City Chiefs or Robert Saleh from the 49ers. So we'll see what happens. But I do nonetheless. I'm hoping Dan Campbell has a successful run with the Detroit Lions, and they can change the culture here, and they can start playing some winning football. The second question that he asked is, was he out of line? I don't know. The national media has blown this up and made this, a huge problem, huge ordeal. I will say that the local media in Detroit, for the most part, a lot of people have seemed to love it. Me personally, I love it. And I think from our stance here in Michigan and in the Detroit market is the Detroit Lions have won one playoff game in 61 years. So to see somebody come in and just really talk about the people of Detroit being hardworking, tenacious people, because that's what we are here in Metro Detroit. That's what we're all about. We work hard. We are relentless. And he really talked about that. And he said the team was going to model the people of this great state here. And, I know he talked about getting knocked down and getting back up and biting off a kneecap and then getting knocked down and getting up and biting off the other kneecap. I don't think he's going to inflict violence. I don't think he's going to intentionally try and get his guys to hurt somebody. Let's make that clear. So me personally, I loved it. When I heard it the first time, I wanted to get up and run through a brick wall, Zach. So I can only imagine what those guys are going to want to do when they compete and get out there next year. So we'll see what happens. If he was the right hire, I don't know. And was he out of line? I don't think so, to be honest with you. Zach, you got a couple thoughts here on that?
Hated it.
Okay.
Hated the press conference. And not for any reason other than I thought it was a little bit ridiculous and over the top. But I can see how being a fan of the Detroit Lions, someone might, be in favor of that. I guess, it's no secret I'm from the city of Pittsburgh. We've had 3 head coaches since, football was invented. I'm exaggerating there, but, you've never seen a Pittsburgh Steeler head coach carry themselves that way. It's very matter of fact, down the business. And never, I don't know, it's just something I'm not used to seeing, I guess. So I'm comparing it. My perspective is he would not be considered for a Pittsburgh head coaching job because of, that energy. And some teams need it, some teams love it, but from my perspective, not a fan. And didn't appeal to me, didn't hype me up, didn't get me excited to run, didn't get me to want to run through a brick wall for him. But I thought it was kind of ridiculous and kind of just rolled my eyes at it. But to his credit, I understand he is a position coach, but I do believe that in his latest role, he had assistant head coach duties. So, although he wasn't in a coordinator position, I think there was grooming to be a head coach one day. Maybe came sooner than anyone had thought, maybe even Dan Campbell himself. But I think that only time will tell if he's ready. But I think he may be more prepared than some think so. So I'm excited to see what he does. And as for the GM, I love the GM hire. I don't know if the GM had any input on this hire, which makes me question the working relationship they're going to have, and I have concerns with that. I think that's, you know, if you're going to have a GM that's going to be drafting for you and a head coach, you need to see eye to eye. You need to work together. And I think sometimes, most of the time, I think the GM, if you're going to trust this GM in his position, I hope he had a say in who was being hired. And if not, it's only going to be more of the same in Detroit.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you brought up there with the GM hire. I think the GM hire was a good hire as well, and only time will tell on that, for sure too. But to your point, did he have the say in the head coach? And if not, if it came from ownership, then that's a big problem as well. Because we know ownership here in Detroit with the Lions have had their fair share of struggles. So that'll be interesting to see what comes about with that relationship. Jumping into the next question, Zach, Tom Brady. I know how much you love Tom Brady. Heading to his 10th Super Bowl, first one with Tampa. Is he the greatest of all time? And how was he able to do this in his first year with the Tampa Bay Bucks?
I How was he able to do this in his first year in Tampa? I have no idea. I mean, the guy just wins, and I think I've said it before in weeks prior. I think my dislike or hatred for Tom Brady was merely because he was with the New England Patriots. I started following him on social media. I think he's funny. I think he's a decent human being. I think that now that he's in the NFC, maybe I just like him a little bit more, that I don't have to see him so much, being a Steeler fan. So I guess, you know, I do think that Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. I mean, I don't know how he's still doing it. The guy just wins. He prepares. Every interview I see, that he discusses how he prepares himself, how he carries himself, his leadership qualities. It's just impressive. I think he's always saying something profound and something that you can take away from, and use in your own personal experiences, whether it's personally or professionally. I think he's insightful, and how the guy keeps in shape. And I don't. He might do this until he's 50, Al. I mean, I seriously don't. I can't answer. How is he able to do it? I don't know, but I think he's going to do it for a few more years. I honestly do. 10th Super Bowl. It's just a stunt. 10 Super Bowls in 22 seasons, 20 seasons. I mean,
Yeah.
that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't think. I don't. If there was 8 teams in the league, I don't know if anyone could accomplish that feat. So, yeah, greatest of all time, absolutely. I think it's going to be difficult to beat. If he wins another Super Bowl, I think it's no question. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's down the road in another NFC Championship game and another Super Bowl in the next 3 years. So, what about you? What are your thoughts? I know you're a huge Tom Brady fan. You love the guy. I think you have a tattoo of him on your chest, maybe. I don't know, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no tattoo yet, but you do know how I feel about Tom Brady. Absolutely love Tom Brady. I love talking Tom Brady. Love reading about him and learning about what he does. You mentioned it with his preparation, and everything that he's all about. I mean, you've heard a lot of things about what he does to stay in shape, to stay healthy. He eats all the right foods. He trains the right way. He gets plenty of sleep. He goes to sleep at 9 o'clock at night, from what I've heard. So, I mean, his preparation and his attention to detail is better than anybody we're ever going to see, probably in any professional sport, which is phenomenal. Because I always go to the point that I don't think he's the greatest athlete in the world. I just think that his competitiveness and his desire to win is greater than any athlete we have ever seen in any sport, period. Maybe put him on up at the level with Michael Jordan, his competitiveness, but I don't think anybody really competes with him on that level. So we mentioned going to his 10th Super Bowl, 20 seasons, I believe, that he's been in the NFL, one of which I think it was when he hurt his knee and was out the entire year in the first game of the season. So you can essentially say 10 Super Bowls in 19 seasons, which is incredible. So he goes to the Super Bowl every other year, 50% of the time he's playing for a championship, which is ridiculous. He goes to Tampa, and they've obviously got a good offensive unit there. Defense is playing strong right now. I think the leadership, Zach, that he brought to that team is why they're in the position they are, in all honesty. Um, he's a fantastic leader of people. He gets people pumped up, motivated, ready, and wanting to compete at the highest level. Is he the greatest of all time? I think that's a no-brainer. He's still playing really good football. I know he had three interceptions this past week, but two of them were essentially on 3rd and long. He's thrown it deep up for grabs, so it's essentially a punt. And the one was tipped off Mike Evans' hands. Tough catch, a little bit high. Probably could have caught it though. So he's still playing good football. He had 40 touchdown passes this season. To your point, I don't know if he'll play till 50, but I see him coming back next year for sure. Maybe a year after that, that'll put him at 55 going on, or 45 going on 46. I hope he wins this Super Bowl. I really do. I would, nobody really gave him too much credit against New Orleans the other week. And this past weekend, everybody was talking Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. He's just going out, getting it done. He's a fantastic leader. Love what he's doing. Love Tom Brady. Want to see him continue to play.
Understood, and I agree. And maybe not 50, but he might play till 45. So moving on to the AFC, Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City advanced to their 2nd consecutive Super Bowl. Thoughts on the AFC Championship game? And ultimately, who do you have? The GOAT, Tom Brady, or the new kid on the block, Patrick Mahomes? Will he have 10 Super Bowl appearances in 20 years?
I hope not. I really hope not, because I don't want him to be the GOAT. So let's make that clear. I love Patrick Mahomes, love what he's doing, respect him. He is a phenomenal talent. He is great ambassador for the NFL. Good young kid, I think, doing all the right things out there. So I want him to be successful, but I want him to maybe go to 5 Super Bowls and win 3. So let's make that clear right there off the bat.
That doesn't even beat Bradshaw.
It doesn't. So I want. There's no room for speculation here. It's Tom Brady all the way. So let's make that clear. I was a little bit disappointed in the AFC Championship. I thought the Buffalo Bills would put up a little bit more of a fight. They got out to that big lead, 9-0 early, and Kansas City just turned it on. And they are so loaded with talent. I've got to start giving Kansas City more credit, because I honestly, and we've talked about this in the past few weeks when we've talked about the playoffs starting, I thought Andy Reid made a catastrophic mistake in not playing his starters in the last regular season game. And I was wrong. I was absolutely flat out wrong. Had he not rested those guys, Chad Henne would not have been able to play and get out on the field. And he might have struggled last week when they needed him in that 4th quarter to hold on to that victory over Cleveland. So kudos to Kansas City. Kudos to Andy Reid. They're getting it done. Great organization. I'm giving the slight edge to Kansas City. If I had to put money down on the game, I would probably take Kansas City. Who do I want to win? I really, really want Tampa to win, obviously, with Tom Brady. I want him to get his 7th Super Bowl. But Kansas City, in my opinion, is the better team. If they're clicking on all cylinders, they're the ones that should probably win the game. Zach?
Yeah, I think everybody knows how good Kansas City is and is just waiting for them to fail, but they never fail. Yeah. It's one of those things where they just, Travis Kelce with 100 and some yards, and Mahomes consistently throwing 300 yards with ease. The guy just connects. They get yards and they score. It's impressive. And I really thought the Buffalo defense would be able to at least disrupt that a little bit. But it didn't happen. And it wasn't the game I thought it was going to be. Thought Kansas City would win, but really thought the Bills could maybe pull one out. And I'm going this, with the same philosophy into the Super Bowl, that Kansas City's just that good, and I think they're going to win. But will they misstep? Will Tom Brady get an opportunity to take advantage of a turnover and turn the tides and score a touchdown and you know, being, I know there's not going to be, 100,000 fans in the stadium, but it's sort of going to be a home field advantage with 22,000. So, is this the opportunity for Mahomes and Kansas City to maybe slip up, and Tom Brady being the GOAT taking advantage of it? So, um, I think I'm giving it to KC, but I'm still waiting for that slip up. I don't know if it's going to happen though. They are solid. They score, they get yardage, and they don't make many mistakes. So, and I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be fun to watch. I think it's going to be great to watch Tom Brady and kind of the new face of the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, and is it a passing of the torch? Does Tom Brady kind of, Patrick Mahomes wins and Brady's passing a torch, or is Brady going to keep the torch for another season or two and not give it up? So it's going to be a great game. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game. It should be a really tight game. I'm looking forward to it as well. I really hope it's a blowout, and I hope Tampa wins 35-3. But it should be a tight game, and we'll see. Zach, we'll wrap it up with one final question. So this question actually I love, and it comes in from one of our followers, one of our viewers. George Boulos had the question. So the voting results have come in today for the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Nobody's getting in this year. 2021, nobody's selected to get in. First time that this has happened since 2013, and I believe it's the 9th time overall. Zach, thoughts? Is this right, or was somebody deserving to get in?
So first, I want to thank George for the question. Great question and a timely subject. For the 9th time in Hall of Fame, baseball Hall of Fame history, no player was elected to the Hall of Fame. And for me personally, growing up, watching some of these players, it's hard for me to say that they don't deserve to get in. Barry Lamar Bonds was one of the greatest baseball players ever. And I truly believe he was a Hall of Famer before any type of controversy was discovered, discussed, or even thought about. The guy, 30 homers, 30 stolen bases a season, consecutively, was a star with the Pirates at a young age. He was fun to watch, and he was on the way to be one of the greatest baseball players ever before the steroid era began. And it's a shame that it began for Major League Baseball. But I think that whole era has an asterisk next to it. So I don't know how you can keep out a player when I won't say the majority of players, but that was the culture of Major League Baseball. And that culture was allowed by Major League Baseball. So I think there are Hall of Fame, and they say, you've heard this out, that the character of the player matters in the Hall of Fame. There's individuals that are in the Hall of Fame currently that if it was based on their character as well, they probably shouldn't be in there either. So, I think Barry Lamar Bonds, for me, and I don't know why I'm saying his middle name. I was a huge Barry Bonds fan, but he was he deserves to be in. Roger Clemens, I think, also a great pitcher, probably a Hall of Famer before controversy as well. And then coming in third, I think, was Curt Schilling in the voting. Him, I can maybe make a case. Yes, maybe, but more than likely no for me. But Barry Bonds, definite. Roger Clemens, not. I think probably far behind. I think Barry Bonds is an elite. Roger Clemens should be in. Curt Schilling, a maybe for me. What are your thoughts, Al?
Yeah, interesting take there, Zach. I do tend to agree with pretty much all of what you said there. I love the fact that you mentioned kind of look at where they were prior to this controversy with the steroid era, right? And I think you can you can state that Barry Lamar Bonds should definitely be in the Hall of Fame, right? And I agree, Roger Clemens as well. I think Kurt Schilling belongs there too. So I think all three guys belong in the Hall of Fame. It's a shame to see that they haven't been elected yet. I think they have one more shot, I believe. So I'm hopeful that next year they can get in, right? And with the last round of voting that they'll have available to them. But I think they were all fantastic players. They were good for Major League Baseball. I remember watching them in the late '90s, early 2000s there. And like I said, to your point, I agree with you 100%. Look at what they did prior to steroids, and I think you have to agree that their talent was there and they were Hall of Fame worthy prior to that. So I think all three of them are very well deserving. So we'll see what happens moving forward, though. But thank you again to George for that question earlier. That wraps up all the questions that we have for Hot Topic Tuesday here. We thank everybody for joining in this Tuesday evening and listening to us, and we hope you tune in next Tuesday for Hot Topic Tuesday. We hope you join us this Sunday as we're going to do something a little bit unique and different. We're going to have a couple former Pittsburgh Pirate employees that Zach and I worked with join us in a roundtable discussion, and we hope that you take the time to join us on Sunday as well. Thank you.